This is November 15 and the year is 2013. We are at the Fine Arts Building at Valdosta State University, and we are specifically at Dr. Carol Mikkelsen's office. And, well, this short interview is to know a little more about Dr. John Huxford. But Dr. Mikkelsen, could you please introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Dr. Carol Mikkelsen. I'm a professor in the Department of Music, VSU.
And when exactly did you come here for the first time?
Well, I shouldn't say this publicly, but it was 1970. I was just a child, of course.
And what did the music department look like when you first came?
Well, actually, physically, the Fine Arts Building looks exactly the same. Of course, not everything in the music department now is in the Fine Arts Building, but the physical look of things is basically the very same. Not as large a number of faculty members, of course. There were probably 8 to 10, possibly. And student bodies somewhat smaller, but not tiny by any means.
Okay. And how did the music department change over the years that you've been here?
Well, I think primarily, looking at it broadly, there was sort of a everything equal number of students and faculty in the vocal area, the keyboard, and instrumental. There was not a football team, of course, at VSU, and the first big change came when football was initiated and you had to have a marching band. And so the band program grew considerably, new faculty concomitant with that. And then some years later, someone decided that we needed an orchestra and a string program. So, of course, when the VSO was started, that was a major change in the character and whatever of the orchestra. There was funding somehow gotten through some extra source to have string faculty who were not full-time faculty members, but who taught, 4 or 5 different additional string faculty members made a lot of difference in the number of, and then of course since then we've added a lot more wind player faculties as well. So in the area of instrumental music, of course, has grown because of those two things, has been allowed to grow and encouraged to grow more than the keyboard and voice, of course. Of course, Dr. Huxford was a pianist.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
And, well,
Speaking
of which, and what can you tell us firsthand about Dr. Huxford?
Well, he was here when I came. He was not the head of the music department at that time. And I can't remember now exactly when he became head of the music department. But he was that, and I don't think that was for a long time, because afterwards the division of fine arts was developed as the school grew some, and we had not just departments, but we had divisions, and that was before there were colleges. But he was the first head of the division of fine arts. So I last remember him in that position.
Mm-hmm. And then he became, well, then the music department was created, and then
well, there was already a music department.
Okay. And do you remember when he was head of that department in '82? And Valdosta State College became associated to the National Association of Schools of Music. How did this affect the music department?
Well, it was a big deal, but it was kind of at that time it was sort of fun, because it was like a group of very kind of missionaries teaching music, and we thought it was just grand that you could teach music and make a living doing that, and everyone was working together to do that. And the fact that we wanted to be part of the national standard of music schools, were we good enough? What could we do to improve and whatever? So it was done with a great deal of kind of enthusiasm, and we I think it was not a problem becoming what's the word? Not certified, but becoming a member of NASM Schools of Music. But there were certain things that we had to do to comply with the standards, and one major one was library holdings, as I recall. So before becoming fully accredited, I remember we had to beef up our library holdings quite a bit. So it's been a steady thing since that time, which has been good. I think that's been a great thing for the Department of Music.
Awesome. And what about moving teachers from offices and the physical thing?
Yes, we at that time even were already had outgrown the Fine Arts Building tremendously by, what'd you say, 74 or something? I don't remember, but anyway, the accreditation. But I was one that did not have an office, a permanent office, so I was teaching some here and there and left books around in the hallway and on benches and whatever as I was going from room to room. And I believe NASM said, oh, I don't think that will do. Everyone needs an office. And so I am in the office that I am in now because we absconded this room from the art department, and it was at that time a photography studio. So thanks to them, I have a lovely big office, which is now, of course, filled.
Well, thanks, Dr. Mikkelsen.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your help.
Yes, enjoyed it.
At Dr. Mikkelsen's office. And I am Ken Brockman from The Simpsons.
I do. I recall now a funny story or two about NASM business, but I can't remember if it was the initial one or the second one. But anyway, I got this office because of an NASM visit.
Wow.
It was the photography studio at that time, and I was teaching like all the part-time people are better off now than they were then, but I was, had a little spot somewhere and was always teaching in a classroom or in the halls or wherever I could. And NASM said, oh, no, everybody needs a teaching studio, And so they kicked the photography studio out, and I know they haven't quite forgiven me. You notice how large it is.
Yeah.
And it used to be that there were double doors right there and on the other side, and everything past the double doors, that way was music and everything. Here was either comm arts or art. So this is on this side, you see. So they kicked the photography studio out and I got this room.
But they got relocated, right? It's not that they don't have a room
It was
anymore.
about 10 years later that they're all over now, I think.